Polyheal Limited is an Israeli biotechnology company. We've been in existence for 10 years, and the core of the company is a technology based on polystyrene microspheres. And the first of many therapeutic uses which we've investigated is the field of wounds, specifically chronic wounds. Our lead candidate product, Polyheal 1, has two major components. It has polystyrene, charged polystyrene microspheres, and they are embedded in a nutritional medium and packaged in 15 ml bottles to be applied topically to chronic wounds. The product has gone through an extensive preclinical and clinical testing and has been recently licensed by the European Union as a Class 2B medical device. What's most important is the contact between the polystyrene microspheres and the wound bed. When they are topically spread over the wound, they come into direct contact with the number of cells inside the wound bed. And there are two major things that happen. One is Polyheal is an activating technology. It's not something that we passively administer to the wound, but rather it's something that comes in contact with the cells and mobilizes and gets them on track to the normal healing process. The second important point with Polyheal is it's not targeting one singular cell or mechanism for wound healing, but in fact it affects a number of different important phases and cell types involved in wound healing. And so we know that when the cells first come in contact with Polyheal, there's an inflammatory response that engages the macrophages and eventually cytokine activity and growth factor activity. We also know that the cells themselves, the beads, the microspheres, adhere to the cells and allow them to move into the wound bed eventually. And this is important for endothelial cells, epithelial cells, and keratinocytes in terms of eventually the process we call epithelialization. And so finally, it's very important to have both this activation effect as well as the multi-process and multicellular effect to have what we see as a more dramatic clinical response, because we're mobilizing almost the full resources of the body.
Initially, we were certainly thinking about the results we have been presented, but when we then applied the device, we were very positively surprised by it. We had treated our toughest patients with the device, who actually underwent all kinds of treatments before, including dressings, vac treatment, transplantations, whatsoever. The mean duration of the wounds we treated was roughly 5 to 6 years. Some were up to 18 years in duration. Initially, we realized a very rapid improvement of the wound. They showed marked granulation, up to 100% in some cases, in instances where we didn't see any progress for weeks and months before. So we decided to continue, specifically for these hard-to-heal wounds. We consented, together with 4 other major wound healing centers in Germany, to start a small pilot trial. We contributed 7 patients. These were patients who have been treated in our center for partly more than 7 years, and we applied Polyheal according to the Israel prescription twice daily initially, and were very surprised to experience a marked improvement of these wounds already in the first few weeks of treatment. Already after 2 weeks we could see considerable increase of granulation, and at the end of the treatment phase we saw a marked reduction of wounds, wound closure, or complete granulation in wounds that had been totally inert up to that time point.
Seitdem wir mit Polyheal arbeiten, sieht man eine sehr gute Verbesserung der Wunden, chronischen Wunden, und es ist vor allem besser, dass die Zeit der Wundverschlüsse sehr kurz sind. Und die Patienten haben es sehr leicht mit der Lösung, mit der Wunde umzugehen, die Verbände selber zu machen und vor allem in so einer kurzen Zeit natürlich die Wunde, dass das geschlossen ist. Und der Patient ist glücklich, wir sind natürlich noch glücklicher. Ja.
I certainly am convinced that Polyheal will be an important product in the future, specifically for hard-to-heal wounds. Is a very important integral part of the wound healing process in all kinds of wounds. As a scientist, we are not trained to be enthusiastic, but the first results we have seen about the clinical effects of Polyheal have been extremely impressive. And given that the clinical trials which are going on at the moment come to the same conclusions. I would consider Polyheal, the introduction of Polyheal, as one of the most innovative and exciting new components which we have observed in the wound healing scene for the last 10 to 15 years.
Polyheal is a new and innovative technology in a field where there's still a fair amount of unmet need, particularly in the very hard to treat cases of various etiologies, particularly the deeper, more complex wounds with exposed bones and tendons, and the more complex wounds of various etiologies. Polyheal comes along with a promising clinical history and appears to fill that void that currently exists. It also is very easy to use, very safe because the ingredients are chemically inert. And so we have the potential here to take on the one hand this efficacy in the very hardest to treat cases and combine it with something that is safe and easy to administer as well, and bring it to the marketplace. And of course we will continually add clinical data to demonstrate the efficacy. We will try to continually improve the application of the product, to extend the application frequency, and of course are always listening to our customers and to hear how we need to evolve as a product and as a company in the future.